the God of Elijah. It may make no sense to you, but it will. 1 King 19 starts with Elijah running away from Jezebel. Sometimes you get tired of fighting. And number two is this, that even though you're called by God, you're not excluded from the battle. Even though God called you and you're ordained by God and God uses you, there's a Jezebel you got to face for the next level, for the next translation of your life. We find that Elijah is at this point running away for his life. And sometimes when you run away from the things that's supposed to run from you, it gets you depressed. Okay. Most of the times when you're supposed to beat the things and they beating you, something is wrong. When the people you're supposed to have victory over now got victory over you, it tends to get a little depressed. When life trying to hold you down and this is supposed to be happening, but it's not happening. And sometimes life can beat you down, but I'm called and ordained by God. What does it say about that? You can have great victories in one area of your life and have defeat in some other areas. And that's the thing that can confuse you. Why is it that God has given me so much ability and so much power, and yet I'm battling something I should have beat? The great prophet of God, Elijah, running away from a woman, from a threat. Not even she didn't show up yet. She just said, I'm going to kill you. You dead. Tonight. Some of us are running just from a threat of the enemy. Some of you are just running from a threat. You leave everything, you move on. So we see now the spirit of fear taking, my God, Elijah. And the Bible always clear that when you begin to fear not. Because fear sometimes in life, you're just not even running for what will happen, but you're running away from what could happen. Oh, God have mercy. You're not running away for what they actually did, but what they say they're going to do to you. Okay, live life long enough and you find out as tough as you think you are. And some of you, even when you open your mail on Mondays or Fridays, there's a threat from the credit card that gets your money. My God have mercy. There's a threat that can come to the mail and take your heart and take your mind. So we see that Elijah went into a cave and he went into the cave and he got up in there, because sometimes when life gets hard, we turn to want to take ourselves away from public things. When life gets hard, we tend to exclude ourselves from life, and we don't want to live life the way we used to live life no more. So we find ourselves, as powerful as we are, get great victories, but when the threat comes, you're hiding in the cave. You're hiding in the cave. But there are certain things in your life that brings you to a reality. Sometimes in life we need to have a reality check. Oh, come on. So now God was giving Elijah a reality check. My God. So he was in the cave. He began to say, I wish I died. I don't want to make it. Come on. See, you can talk about Elijah all you want, but there's some of us, if we can hear what your life been through and what you suffered, we sound just like Elijah. God, I wish that I don't have to go through what I got to go through. I pray that I don't have to deal with the things that I got to deal with. So we see now he's in the cave, and the men of God trying to hear God, and sometimes he see the storm came. He said, God, I need a word from you. It's the storm that comes and all these other things that come in the cave, and he didn't hear God, and God was not in the storm. God was not in this, but what God was in was a still small voice. And you know the greatest thing about still small voice, it takes focus. It takes time for you to actually listen. If I'm speaking loud, it's easy to hear me. But guess what? If I'm speaking softly, it takes a mindset for you to be ready to extend your hearing and to tune out everything else and really focus on what I'm trying to tell you. And most of us can lose it because we expect God to speak one way, but God is speaking another way in our lives. And God began to speak to the man of God called Elijah, and he began to give him instruction. He said to him, right now you go and anoint this one king, and you, my God, you anoint Elisha on your stead. So we see that instruction of God came. And I've been touching on this for the past 2 weeks about the Elisha generation, that God had a mandate over your life, but he never told you. He told the prophet. He never told you. Oh God. God spoke some things about the life of Elisha. Elisha was living life as usual. He was moving, serving, doing all kind of things that he needed to do. And guess what? And God had a mandate over his life. And God had a mandate over what he's supposed to do. And he do not have a clue to your change. There are times in life that God has spoke a truth over your life, but you don't know it yet. While you crying, God says over. Okay. All right. While you worry about it, God has already told you that whatever that you worried about is over. Okay, can I talk about this man called Saul? He was looking for the jackasses, and God said, look, the jackasses you're looking for has been found. It was not about the jackasses, it's about to get you from one point to the other point. So we see that now God has a purpose over the life of Elisha, and God has decreed certain things. And another thing I want to tell you is this: you can be anointed and not be able to hear for yourself. And God don't tell you what it needs to be said, but you need to be in, my God, you need to be in the house of the prophets where God can decree what thus said the Lord God. So we find out that God knew about Elisha. He said, anoint Elisha on your stead. So we find out that Elijah came about and he began to run around and took the mantle and put it over Elisha, and he didn't say a word. Sometimes when you're chosen, see, God ain't going to say too much to you. It's about you to follow in the season where God wants to do in your life. It's not about me giving you a big long story why God chose me. You know how we get. Why God want to use me. You know you want to be used. But you're like, why God wants to use me. Don't worry about it. God chose you. Just come and follow me. We find out that when God called you, he disconnect you to connect you. Amen. Okay. Can I talk about it? When God chooses you, he disconnect you to connect you. We found out that the destiny that God had for Elisha was not with his natural family, but with a spiritual father. My God. Okay. The destiny that God had for him was not with his family. And then when he put the mantle around the man of God, Elisha, he began to walk away. And Elisha said, let me go back to my father. And the first thing Elijah says, what do I got to do with you? I don't got no time to waste with you. I don't got no time. He kept on walking. Then guess what this man of God did? He killed everything that can cause him to go back. And there are certain things in your life you're going to have to kill, because guess what? The tendency to go back is always there. So now, for you to be free, you're going to have to have murder on your mind. Okay. You're going to have to kill it. You can't try to say, oh, it's all right, baby. It's all right. No, baby. Kill it. You got to kill Jimmy and Tommy and all of them. You got to get, let me tell you, as long as that, see, stop ministering to your temptations. Stop ministering to things you tempted to. Stop ministering to things that tempts you, and then you trying to say it's going to be all right. God going to work out. Let me tell you something. First of all, you got to understand that God was ever in it. You see, the thing is, you trying to fix this. Some things is not about fixing. We understand God can fix some things, but some things, if God didn't put it together, you ain't going to fix it. You ain't going to do the thing that He got to do with it. There are some things for me to go to the next level of God in my life that it's not going to be God doing the killing, it's going to be me doing the killing. And you see, you can cry and you can say the devil this, the devil keeping me from the left. Ain't no devil keeping you from your next level. Matter of fact, the devil do not have the ability to keep you anything from you. God have mercy. The only person who can stop your next level is put a mirror to yourself and begin to say, the only person that can stop me is me. The only person who can stop the will of God for my life is me. So Elijah had a made up mind. Can I tell you something? In this season that God has, you got to make, my God, you got to have a made up mind. It doesn't matter if your neighbor then make it look, says, I don't got time to deal with you. So now in the season of a made up mind, because think about it, remember what I say, God will disconnect you to connect you. God have mercy. God will disconnect you to connect you. There are some people who are not going in the same direction that you're going to. There are some people, I don't care if they're family members or wherever they are, they're not going in the same place, and you can try to make it work. You can try to do anything that you want to do, but there's a point that you got to make a choice and disconnect yourself and say, what God has for me is greater that's before me right now. What God has for me is greater. And can I tell you something? When Elisha began to make the sacrifice, my God, we see that when he made the sacrifice, that he went straight and began to serve Elijah. Okay. God ain't going to put the calling on you and you begin to start going all over the world in one day. No, baby. For you to be great, you're going to have to serve. Well, I want to talk to you. We're going somewhere today. That for you, my God, to be used by God and for God to do something, you got to serve underneath somebody. Who have you served under before you qualify to be called out? Who have you poured the water? Come on, come on. Who have you poured the water in their hands for them to watch? He was not called. You see, even though the destiny is to be, my God, to be called to be the next prophet of Israel. But we find out that the next prophet of Israel was pouring the water in the hands of his father, Elijah. Because what Elijah got for me in this season, my God, it's not about the calling. It's about the connection. It's not about the calling. It's about the connection. It's about now identifying myself. You see, the thing about Elisha, he had to break the disconnection to what he was, to what he's going to be. Okay. There's some family members that you come from that when you look at it, you can never go forward because mama was a drunkard, crackhead. Some of them was adulterous. Some of them was messed up. So if you look at them to look towards your future, you can get messed up. So now God had to put another image, my God, to show him Elijah the pattern of what it is. What is God was trying to show Elisha that I'm putting you and connecting you to the Father. Because there is something I'm doing between the relationship of fathers to sons. And son is not talking about gender. Oh God have mercy. See, this sonship is not about gender. It's spiritual. It is something that's connected in the spirit to this person. It is something that's connected. Now we're going to talk about it because when we look at it, we see here, my God, in the book of Malachi, chapter 4, verse 5 and 6, that it is an end time book where God is saying something in this season what God is going to do now. You see, the thing about it, he said that in the last days, I'm going to send back the spirit of Elijah, oh God. And the spirit, see, the spirit of Elijah talk about the spirit of prophecy, my God. It's talking about a mantle of the prophetic that's going to come back again. Because guess what happened? The prophets was the one that delivered. See, a victory, everything in the Old Testament was the prophets crying out to God, getting the people to come back to God again, to have the yearning for God, to have the desire for God, to have the, my God, the ability to seek God again. But he said that, what we said, he said that I will turn back the spirit of Elijah to turn the heart of what? The fathers fathers back unto the sons, and the sons back unto the father. There's something. Why is God so much important about the sonship? Because the sonship and fathership is a seed that's planted that nobody else can give you. Oh God. There's a seed that you need from the, my God, from the connection that you have with the mentor of Elijah, that's going to bring something inside of you and bring you to the next level in your life. So now the next level of God is going to be the relationship level, that the prophetic is going to bring you back to the place where God is supposed to be. You need, in my God have mercy, for you to go to the next level in your life, you need an Elijah. You need an Elijah that's willing to release the mental. You need an Elijah that's willing to do the things of God in your life that you have never seen it before. See, the thing about it, if a man don't have a woman, he cannot reproduce. So in this season, you need a connection to the prophetic word of the Lord that's going to put seed in you and impregnate you and get you to the next level where God would want you to be. So you need an Elijah. And guess what happened? If you look at the book of 2 Kings, and I may not take too long today, that in the book of 2 Kings, we find out that the man Elisha spent time with Elijah. He's seen Elijah do great things. Can I tell you something? There are certain things you see and you learn only when you serve him. There are certain things you get to see the man of God in a weak state. You see, if you see me up here, you can see the strength of it all. But unless you serve and you pour a finger, you will see. You see the vulnerability of the man. You begin to see the weaknesses of the man. You begin to see his struggle. You begin to see, my God, his victories and how he deals when things go bad. You begin to see certain things that you don't do in the classroom. There are certain things, see, in classroom, you being dictated. It's not relationship. You're being dictated. You're being talked to. But there's something that happened when I come and pour, my God, the water in your hands. There's something that happened when I begin to cook your food for you, Elijah. Let me cook it for you. Let me prepare this thing for you. Let me serve you, Elijah. There's something about it that teaches you humility and teaches you how to listen to the voice of the Father. You begin to understand, because the thing about it, my God, Elisha, even though you call, you do not know the voice of the Lord. Elijah got to teach you and model to you how to hear God, how to hear his voice, how to move in the things that God will call you to be. Even though God called you, my God, what the spirit of Elijah has come to do is to model, my God, the spirit of God in your life, to show you the faithfulness. See, the thing about it, he began to grow on Elisha. Elisha began to move, and guess what Elisha does? Elisha understands. He didn't say to Elijah, when is it my turn to prophesy? When is it my turn to do this? You see, the thing about Elisha, he was not looking for the call. He was looking for the Father. He was looking for Elisha. He was looking to love him. He ain't trying to say, well, Pastor, I'm going to give you a little time before you use me, before I start my own ministry, before I leave the house and do this and do that. And sometimes, see, the thing about it, you can be called to be great, but God will humble you while you're waiting to be called to be great. There's a test that you got to pass. And that's called the test of humility. That's going to be, my God, you're going to have to pass the test of being humble. Can I talk to a few people up in here? Before you call to the mountaintop, you're going to have to learn how to serve, my God, in the valley. You're going to have to learn to serve when nobody knows your name. You're going to have to serve when nobody knows who you are and what you are. And can I tell you something? You, my God, you can be called to greatness and nobody knows your name. God have mercy. You can be called to be the next great prophet of Israel. Israel. And guess what happened? And you still serving and pouring water in the hands of your daddy. And guess what happened? You satisfied just serving your daddy. That's something, because one of the things that he teaches me is how to be humble and how to be a father. You see the connection, my God, of the spirit of the sons being with the Father, meaning that I'm connected to the Father. Wherever, my God, Jesus, wherever Elijah went, oh God have mercy. And one of the things that I'm talking to you about, that my God, Elijah was over the school of the prophets. We didn't see the rest of the prophets following. We didn't see the rest of the prophets pouring water, but it was Elisha pouring out the water. It was Elisha saying, what can I do for you, my God? What can I do for you, Elijah? Where can I go for you? What do you want me to